Welcome to my 2-minute drill. Most of us learn the Lord's Prayer from the King James translation of the Bible. And one of the sentences says, "Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive others their trespasses." What we're talking about is boundaries. When someone trespasses, they are crossing boundaries. God seems to enjoy boundaries, as he had clearly established borders for the nations of Israel when they lived as 12 tribes. Boundaries are important as they tell us where we are and where we shouldn't be. Job descriptions are boundaries. Corporate policies are boundaries. The laws of the land are boundaries. The teachings of Jesus are boundaries. Let me get a little bit more personal. Do you have clearly established boundaries when it comes to your personal integrity and character? I was speaking recently to some young adults about sexual boundaries from the story of David and Bathsheba. And in the story, King David is looking over the city one night and sees a beautiful woman bathing. How did he know she was beautiful? He took a second look. The moment he saw her, a boundary flag was waved. He ignored it. He asked a staff member to find out who she was. He reported back telling her who David's husband was and who her father was. And if you do some research, you'll find out that these men were both close to David. They were part of his elite security team of 30. As soon as these names were mentioned, a father he knew personally, a husband he knew personally, another boundary flag was waved. David ignored the flags, sends for the lady, has sex with her, gets her pregnant, and a whole series of negative consequences results. Why? Because he didn't have boundaries. If he did, he ignored them. His leadership was never the same because of his lack of parameters in his life. What are your boundaries when it comes to the opposite sex? Is being in your office alone with someone who isn't your spouse okay? Is being in a car with them alone okay? What are your boundaries when it comes to money? Do you have checks and balances for spending personal money, corporate money? What are your boundaries when it comes to work hours? Do you have rules for yourself on the amount of hours that you work a week? Do you have parameters on how hard you push your staff? Do you take days off? Here's your homework for today. Write out one boundary for each of these areas: relationships with the opposite sex, finances, and work hours. Don't just think about it, write it out. God loves boundaries, and when you declare it, he'll help you keep it. Join me tomorrow as we talk about patience. To go deeper, head to www.lored.org and click on Principles.